Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird. It's dark. It's your kind of vibe. Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal. Okay. So, hey guys. Welcome back. I hope you guys are prepared. Your ear holes are cleaned out and relaxed. Because this one's going to be long.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine's long. Hers is long. It's long. We're long boys today.
Long boys.
So, I think the paranormal for this week is going to be maybe short-ish. How has your week been?
I haven't really been home.
You're never home. So that's nothing new.
Yeah, between dog sitting, going to mom's, helping her, going on vacation, doing all this other shit.
Doing all the stuff.
Doing all the stuff.
I'm always home. I hate going anywhere anymore. Like, I so hate it. I hate to shop. I send my kid, and I'm like, look, go shopping. I'm like, grab my debit card, take it, go to Walmart.
I have no groceries.
I don't either.
I have a bunch of snacks from our trip.
Yeah, I don't have snacks. My kids eat everything. I made a huge thing, like probably 4 gallons of pasta salad, the chicken bacon ranch pasta salad, and it's almost gone.
That's a lot.
I knew I had to make a lot because these fucking kids love it. It was just a random thing that I put together one night because I didn't feel like cooking. Yeah. I didn't have a whole lot of stuff, so I used what I had in the pantries. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got a pack of bacon, a pack of chicken, I got noodles, I got ranch. Let's make chicken bacon ranch, pasta salad. That was a mistake. Now these kids want it all the time. I made taco soup. London probably ate 90% of that soup. Is that weird flavored too?
No, it was spicy for a second.
What? Oh, Sprite.
Yeah, because it's ocean water.
I was like, it was spicy.
For being in the fridge, it's extra spicy.
Why is it spicy?
Why is it spicy?
Yeah. So yeah, that's been our week. My week's pretty good. I've only got a little bit longer before my husband finally comes home from training. I'm excited.
2 days.
I'm excited. I don't know. Close enough. Sometime. He'll be home eventually. Yeah. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started on this week's stories. My dude man, his name is Stephen Decatur Richards. And that's hilarious because that's my dad's name. Not the Decatur part.
I'm about to say the whole name.
No, not the whole name. Decatur. That's not his middle name, but my dad's name is Stephen Richards.
Nice.
This isn't the same guy, because this dude was born in 1856.
Definitely not your dad.
So definitely not my dad. But it is what it is. I really don't know my dad, so even if it was him, what the fuck ever, it's okay. But he is also known as the Nebraska Fiend and the Ohio Monster. He went by several aliases. Okay, he went by Dick Richardson, DJ Roberts, George Gallagher, F.A. Hope, J. Littleton, William Hudson, Stephen D. Richards, Samuel D. Richards, Stephen Lee Richards, and S.D. Richards.
How?
Because this is the 1850s of it all.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay. So he was born March 18th of 1956, which makes him a Pisces. He was born in Wheeling, Virginia. And apparently, I just can't seem to do an old-timey story that doesn't involve 9 million children, okay? He was born in Wheeling, Virginia. He was one of 7, so apparently I can't seem to do an old story that doesn't involve 47 children. He had 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Well, they needed all the farmhand.
Yeah. Well, I don't... yeah, because his dad was a farmer, so yeah.
It's the cheapest way to get help.
I know, right? Making a football team.
Pretty much.
At the age of 6, the family relocated to Monroe County, then to Noble County. Richard described his mother as a devout Methodist and his father a farmer, as having, quote unquote, made no profession of religion. So his dad didn't have a religion, didn't speak to religion. And at his mother's insistence, Richard attended Sunday school every single Sunday. So he was a good little Methodist Sunday school boy when he was younger.
So what the fuck happened?
Yes. I mean, this tends to be how it goes. They go to school, mom's super Catholic or Christian, religious, family's religious, live in a religious community, and then it's just, I mean, look at Pazuzu. The whole community they moved into is a religious community, and look what happened. It's just how it goes.
I still don't get that.
I don't either, but, you know, it's kind of more the rule than the exception these days. So, Stephen attended school in Mount Pleasant. He claimed that the teachers considered him very well behaved. He claimed the teachers considered him very well behaved. The teachers didn't claim that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, he made that claim on his own. In the mid-19th century, Nebraska...
In his head, he was a good boy.
Yeah, sure. In the mid-19th century, Nebraska experienced a period of territorial expansion in the wake of the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which saw the creation of Nebraska and Kansas territories to facilitate the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad. And in 1867, Nebraska was admitted into the Union as the 37th state. 2 years after the conclusion of the American Civil War, Nebraska's newfound statehood led to an influx of settlers. Among the growing population and political controversies incited by the state's first governor, David Butler, renewed calls for state constitutions were made in 1871. So during Richard's crime spree and trial, Nebraska's law and justice system had only recently been developed when the state's criminal code had been written into state law in 1871. So basically, had he not been caught when he was caught, had he been caught earlier after his crimes, he probably would not have gotten the sentence that he ended up getting, because the penal codes, the state codes were not what they are during that time. They weren't, they didn't even exist.
Okay.
It wasn't even written into law until 1871. So on September 16th of 1871, Richard's mom unfortunately passed away of unknown causes. He kind of went a little cuckoo after that. Up until the age of 20, Richards lived with his parents, working for farmers and other locals in the area. Also at the age of 20, Richards met and became engaged to a young woman named Anna Milholm, with whom he corresponded with during his later travels, like when he was committing all of his crimes.
Did she know what he was doing?
I don't think so. Okay. It never really says. This is the only mention of her I could find.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Richards also met a man whom he described being of quote-unquote questionable occupation. So basically a criminal.
Oh.
Questionable occupation. Not like he didn't know what he did. Like his practices were questionable. Oh. At this time, he began passing counterfeit bills he obtained from a man in New York City. In 1876, Stephen left his home and headed westward to seek his fortune. For a short time, Richards lived in Iowa and worked as a farmhand. I wrote a farmhand.
A farmhand.
As a farmhand in Burlington and Morning Sun. He was later hired as an attendant at the Iowa Lunatic Asylum in Mount Pleasant. And there he was tasked with burying deceased patients. So,
what?
That's fun. Yeah. When the patients died, they were like, okay, here you go. You can go bury him somewhere now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Richard's time working at the asylum was a significant event in his life that shaped his own humanity and the view of the human race.
Oh, no.
Yep. While he denied witnessing any actual abuse at the asylum of the asylum patients, he later reflected that during his tenure of handling and disposing of deceased patients, he became accustomed to viewing people as nothing more than meat.
It is about to be some damn cannibal dude.
No. You would think, but no.
Okay.
Richards claimed that during this time is when he lost all empathy for the human race. Richard left the asylum in October of 1876 and began drifting around the Midwest United States, finding intermittent work and occasionally consorting with the train robbers. So, like, he was not doing good stuff. He was a criminal.
Clearly.
Yeah, criminal. He stayed in Kansas City briefly before moving to Nebraska, where he would pass through Hastings before arriving in Kearney, residing there for 2 to 3 weeks before leaving for Cheyenne County. So this man was like all over the place. He wasn't in one place for long. He was traveling.
Okay.
He was boot scoot boogieing.
Boot scoot boogie.
Yep. Heel to toe, do-si-do. According to Richards, he became involved in several gunfights during his stay that resulted in him shooting each individual.
What?
Although he stated he was unaware of their condition after each confrontation. Like,
what?
I shot him and left. I don't know how they were.
What?
Yeah, I don't. 1850s of it all. 1860s. 70s.
What?
1800s. I don't know. The shit was wild, wild fucking west back then, okay?
Clearly.
During this period, Richards went under the name William Hudson and later discarded this name once he reached Kansas City. So again,
why?
I don't know, just so people couldn't figure out who the fuck he was, I guess.
But why?
I don't know. I guess he thought he was smart.
Clearly not.
Yep. All right, so now we're going to get to the early murders. So early murders, the first mortar.
Mortar. The first mortar.
Mortar and pestle. Okay, so early murders. The first murder, according to Richards, he met a man while traveling on horseback through the Nebraska countryside, and the pair decided to camp for the night near Dobbytown or Sand Hills. It's kind of confusing on where it actually happened, but these were the two places that were most likely. So settling down for the night, the two began gambling in the game of cards, with Richards winning most of the stranger's money. As the two set off for Kearney the following morning, the man turned on Richards and demanded his money back. Richards, of course, refused, and the other man was, like, pissed.
I mean...
belligerent.
Yeah.
But you lost your money on a card game that
you lost fair and square, dude.
Exactly. Richards refused. Yeah, again, Richards refused. Richards then shot him above the eye, killing him instantly. After confirming he was dead, he threw the body into the Platte River.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Murder number 2.
Okay.
Several days later,
oh no,
as he continued his trek to Kearney, Richards met another man 15 miles from an area called Walker's Ranch. The man had seen Richards and the previous traveler together, and the stranger asked what had become of that man. So he's like, hey, bro, where's my dude? My dude over there. Where'd he go? What happened? Like, I saw y'all traveling together. Where is he? Did he go somewhere else? Richards realized that this man and the one he killed were friends and business partners.
Dun, dun, dun.
Richards denied any knowledge of the dead man, but the other man continued to ask questions, making Richards increasingly anxious. Believing that the man knew too much, Richards decided to kill him. It's the best way to happen.
He just asked him where his friend was.
Yeah, but you know too much. You're gonna die.
And watching him not know nothing.
When the man turned his back to Richard, he was shot in the back of the head. Richards disposed of the corpse and sold the man's horse in a nearby town.
I mean, at least he sold the horse, didn't kill it.
Yeah, he doesn't kill the animals, so I guess that's good. Before reaching Kearney, Richard stopped at the home of Jasper Harrelson, who, according to Richards, was a train robber. So, you know, he is consorting with not good people from the beginning.
Shooting people in the eyeball, shooting people in the back.
Mary, who was Jasper's wife, at that time noticed that Richard had blood on his shirt, and he quote-unquote joked, "It must have been from the man I just killed." It wasn't a joke, but she thought it was a joke at the beginning. I don't know. The story's crazy, okay? Murder number 3. Richards traveled to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where he used counterfeit money to purchase a horse and buggy. After he left, the seller discovered that the bills were not real, and he tracked Richard back down, demanding the money or the return of the horse and buggy. Richards refused both options, and the man threatened to have him arrested. That pissed Richard off, and so he shot him and buried the body and left the area with the horse and buggy that he bought illegally.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Murder number 4.
No.
March of 1877, Richards and a young man with the surname of Gimge.
What?
Mm-hmm. left Grand Island, Nebraska on horseback and headed towards Kearney. He has just been headed towards Kearney this entire fucking time and has killed, like, wrecked up bodies along the way. Okay.
Just apparently don't piss this man off.
Yeah. As they neared their destination, they stopped for the night, camped out somewhere between Lowell and Kearney. Richards woke up around 3 a.m. and roused his partner, telling him that it was nearly morning and they needed to get back on the road. Gimgi, infuriated at being awakened so fucking early, began arguing.
I would too. I don't do early either.
Look, give me like another hour and a half, bitch.
Exactly.
We
it's
will,
still dark out. Don't wake me up.
We will get there. Chill the fuck out.
I'm like, don't wake me up.
Right. So, again, he was pissed, began arguing with Richards. The argument continued, and Richards stated that Gimgi pulled the gun, so Richard pulled his own and shot him in the head. Now, remember, all of these are statements made by Richards. We don't know if any of this is true. He could have just been shooting people because he wanted to shoot people.
It kind of just seems like
that because he has shot so many. Yeah, for sure.
He just gets mad and just goes bang, bang.
Right.
Like, the fuck?
After leaving the area, Richards arrived at Kearney, registering under the name of F.A. Hogue at the local hotel. During his stay, Richards reunited with several old acquaintances, George, quote-unquote, Dutch Henry Johnson, and his companion Hurst, as well as a man who went by the name of Mr. Burns. On March 21st, Richards was arrested, along with Burns, who he had been spending the majority of his time with since arriving in Kearney. At the time, neither of the men were told why they were arrested, although Richards came to suspect it was for the murder of Gimgi.
Probably.
They soon found out that they were arrested for the murder of Pete Getaway, which Richards claimed his innocence over and was acquitted. Burns remained in custody, but also was acquitted not long after. So he was being accused of murder, but it was actually someone he did not murder.
Dang it.
They still dropped the ball. Murders 5 through 8.
What?
This is 4 at one time.
Okay.
In June of 1878, while in Kearney, Richards was arrested and jailed for larceny, so this is the second arrest. He later claimed that this charge was unfounded. However, during his jail time, he reunited with Mary Harrelson, which is, the wife of Jasper. Shortly before Richard's arrival, she had been arrested under the suspicion of having aided the escape of her husband Jasper and another prisoner named Underwood or Nixon. They were not really sure.
How are they not sure?
Question mark? I don't know.
How do you not know who you have in jail?
From the Kearney jail, Richards and Mary Harrelson agreed that she would sell him the deed to her property 6 months later for $600, which is about $17,000 now.
Good golly.
After Richards was released from jail, he traveled around Nebraska for several months. He did business in Hastings, Bloomington, and Grand Island before arriving at the Harrelson's Kearney County homestead on October 18th of 1878. Mary then transferred the property to Richards upon his arrival, and he stayed there for several weeks.
Did Jasper know about this? Jasper
was on the run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was on the run. She helped him get out of jail, escape jail, and he was on the run. The New York Daily Herald later reported that Richards had married Harrelson on November 2nd, 1878. In what newspapers alleged was a scam to acquire ownership of the Harrelson's land. These details are kind of shaky. No confirmation. This is just what the newspapers had reported after all the crimes came out.
Okay.
But 1 month later from when she signed over the deed, Richards decided to kill Mary and her 3 children.
What?
Yep. 10-year-old Daisy, 4-year-old Mabel, and 2-year-old Jasper.
Oh, they were just little babies.
They were babies. In his confession, Richards claimed Harrelson had discovered that he was guilty of murder and he feared that she might betray his presence to authorities. So at that time, the police didn't know who he was, what he was, where he was. But he felt like if she had mentioned something, she would say, I have a murderer living in my house, and he wasn't about to have that happen. So to silence Harrelson and ensure that his previous crimes remain hidden, he resolved to kill the entire family. And I would think primarily because there would be nobody left to care for the children. and the children would ask questions, etc. So he decided that they just all had to go. So on November 3rd of 1878, Richards got up early in the morning along with another man named Brown, who had been staying at the house as a farmhand to help out on the farm. Brown left to feed the horses and complete other chores around the farm. Richards found a spade or a shovel and started digging a hole. He snuck back into the house, killed Mary and her children with an axe. Other sources report that Mary and only one of the children were killed with a clothes iron, while the other two were attacked manually, like by hand. This claim was also reported by some more modern day sources who graphically described Richards killing Jasper, the 2-year-old, by bashing his head against a wall. Yeah. However, these alternate details of the murders were refuted by Richards himself, saying that he had killed the family while they slept. So, like, nobody was awake when it happened. He said most of them had died after the first several blows, with the exception of Daisy, who was the oldest. He claims that she had, quote unquote, writhed in pain for some time. Sick. To sit there and watch a baby. Sick. Richards was said to have scrubbed the blood off the floor and himself after the murders before calmly sitting down to breakfast. So he murdered 4 people and ate some eggs. Yep.
My last question.
Mm-hmm. After he had eaten, he carried the bodies out of the house and buried them in the hole that he had dug nearby. Oh my God. When later questioned about the Harrelsons' disappearance, Richards told several people the family had left with Brown, and he did not know when they were planning on returning. The bodies
killed Brown too?
It doesn't say, but yeah, like it never mentions him after this part.
He would have had to kill Brown if they're asking where he went. If no one's seen Brown,
but they weren't asking about Brown. He's just saying he left with Brown, or they left with Brown, but. It would make sense that either he sent him away or...
they killed him, too.
Yeah, but they never mention anything about that. The bodies of the Harrelsons were discovered on December 11th. Some reports said that they had been concealed underneath a haystack rather than buried in the yard, so it's conflicting accounts of where the bodies were found, but they were found. So, murder number 9. On December 9th of 1878... Richards agreed to help his neighbor, 26-year-old Swedish immigrant Peter Anderson, with some work on the Anderson property. The Columbus Journal reported that Richards had used the alias Dick Richardson during this time. On December 9th, Anderson became ill after eating a meal that Richards had prepared, causing him to suspect Richards of poisoning. Anderson informed a neighbor of his suspicions, and the next day Anderson confronted Richards about possibly the poisoning of the food.
Or Richardson just can't cook, and it was salmonella.
The two fought, and Richards beat Anderson to death with either a hammer or a hatchet, or shot him. The sources vary. Again, 1800s of it all. Like, it's all whatever. Anderson's body was later discovered in the cellar of his house, buried beneath a pile of coal. Richard strongly denied poisoning Anderson, saying that it was not, quote unquote, his style, which we know. Like, he shoots them.
It was just his bad cooking.
Yeah, he didn't poison him.
Yeah, he just can't cook.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. He could have poisoned him, but he's claiming he didn't because it's not his MO. He claimed that Anderson attacked him with a knife and that he killed Anderson in self-defense.
Bullshit.
Meanwhile, there were no injuries on Richards.
Bullshit.
If he attacked him with a knife.
Black hot bullshit.
Yep. So then Richards fled Kearney after Anderson's murder, expecting the body would soon be discovered. That evening, as he was hitching up Anderson's horses and preparing to leave, some of Anderson's neighbors arrived. They had noticed that Anderson had been absent for most of the day and questioned Richards about it, who told them that Anderson was inside of his home, which, wasn't a complete lie. He was inside. This is true.
Yeah. Just not alive.
Yeah. As Anderson's neighbors entered the house, Richards fled on horseback, riding to Bloomington. So he was like, peace out, Girl Scout. Good luck.
Goodbye.
Yeah. He traveled east by horse and train and on foot, passing through Omaha and Chicago. While on the run, he met up with Jasper Harrelson and Harrelson's fellow escaped prisoner. The three traveled through Wheeling.
Wait till he finds out he murdered his damn kids and his wife.
I don't know if he ever does. It never says.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. The three traveled through Wheeling, West Virginia, and into Ohio, passing through Bridgeport before arriving in Richards' hometown of Mount Pleasant. The Nebraska governor, Silas Garber, issued an arrest warrant for Richards on December 16th of 1878 and promised a reward of $200, which is about $6,000 today, for his arrest and conviction. Most accounts that I found online state that on December 20th, after Richards arrived in Mount Pleasant, he attended a ballroom dance accompanied by two unidentified women, maybe sex workers. It doesn't ever say, but possibly. Copies of a wanted poster featuring Richards had been circulating throughout the town, recently in that time, and a constable named McGrew recognized him from that poster. He enlisted the help of a penitentiary guard named Fagg. The two men then armed themselves with shotguns and went after Richards. They said, "Come here, boy."
We gonna get you.
Yep. They found him walking through a field just outside of town with the two women in tow. He was unarmed and quickly surrendered. A little while later, Richards claimed that he had spotted the officers approaching him, and initially intending to fight his way out of the situation, he told the women to head back to town, but they refused, so Richards decided to just surrender because he didn't want the women hurt.
Bullshit.
He claims that if the women had left, he would have avoided arrest.
Bullshit.
Yeah. He said, and I quote, "If I hadn't had the two girls with me, I guess the constable, McGrew, who arrested me, would have been a dead man. Either of us would, for I'd have shot." But with what? Because it said he was unarmed.
With what?
His sharp wit? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Maybe he thought he was going to steal the cop's gun and, turn it on him. He's crazy. I don't know. Richards also said if he had escaped, he would have gone back to Nebraska, as he reasoned that would be the last place anybody would have looked for him. Yeah, go home and nobody will look for you at home.
Because that makes total
fucking sense, right?
Dumbass.
Some accounts differed about the date and place of Richards' arrest. So it's kind of like back and forth about where, when, how. But that seemed to be like the most common...
Yeah.
The most common one of what happened and when. The Wheeling Daily Intelligencer said that upon arriving in a town near Mount Pleasant, Richards was identified by a former acquaintance who detained him with the help of another person.
They said, "Screw you."
Yep. So that's another, like I said, that's like another source of when he was captured and whatever. But the main one is the officer collecting him, especially since Richard spoke out about that and explained, had the women not been with him, blah, blah, blah. So he kind of...
Bullshit, 'cause he killed Mary.
He kind of corroborated, that story. One source claims that Richards was arrested in early 1879 in Austin, Texas. Another modern-day account reported that Richards, whom they listed under the name of Samuel Richards, had been identified and captured by Pinkerton agents. There were even conflicting descriptions of Richards' appearance. Newspapers described him as being approximately 6'2" and quote-unquote heavy-built, with dark hair and blue eyes. However, the account of a Dr. Moreland, who performed a phrenological examination of Richards before his execution, conflicted with these descriptions of him. In his examination report, Moreland said Richards had light brown hair and dark gray eyes. Completely different.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, the 1800s of it all, but people are just like saying whatever the fuck they want to say.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Clearly.
Yeah. The Working Man's Friend, a Leavenworth, Kansas newspaper, reported that Chicago authorities received part of the reward after his capture. After his arrest, Richards was jailed in Steubenville, Ohio. While there, he wrote 2 articles for the local newspaper confessing to 9 murders in just 3 years. And we counted 9 murders.
Yes.
So this is one of those ones where it's right. It's accurate. Like, he confessed to the appropriate murders.
The fact they let him write to magazines.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, that's what they did. They still allow that shit. They still allow it. Sheriff David Anderson of Buffalo County, Nebraska, and Sheriff Martin of Kearney County both of whom pursued Richards to Ohio, returned him to Nebraska, rightly so. Due to local public outrage, Anderson and Martin feared that Richards would be lynched on sight if he were returned to any of the localities where he had committed his crime, so it was decided that they avoid taking him to those places.
I mean, he probably would have.
Yeah, they would have. Yes, for sure. At the time of Richards' arrest, authorities suspected that he was a member of a gang of outlaws who had plagued the state, or even the group's leader. Law enforcement was able to definitively link Richards to the 9 murders to which he had confessed and suggested that he might have killed even more, but Richards said no, just those 9. In a confession written after his final arrest, Richards admitting to having killed 4 men during his travels around Nebraska and Iowa between 1876 and 1877. He described committing his first murder sometime in late 1876, 2 weeks after arriving in Kearney. So that's pretty much what we talked about.
Yes.
Shortly before his trial, Richards predicted that he would be convicted and hanged for his crimes. He was moved to a jail in Omaha on December 28th and transferred to Kearney by train on December 30th. A large crowd of enraged townsfolk gathered outside of the jail in Kearney where Richards was being kept. Fearing a lynching, authorities took quote-unquote extra precautions to ensure Richards' safety as well as their own. They were out for blood. Let me tell you, these townspeople were not fucking having it.
No.
While being moved to the depot, Richards was said to have been impressed by the crowd, asking if the whole town was there to see him.
They want to kill you, dude.
He didn't care.
They didn't come to see you. They came to kill you.
Did not care. He said, all these people for me?
Yeah, to kill your ass.
Yeah, he didn't care. They were there, though. They were there to see him. It didn't matter the reason. They were there for him. So he was like real high on an ego trip at this point, right?
Clearly.
Yeah. Eventually, the crowd did disperse, though, and there were no further incidents during the rest of his stay in Kearney. Or it might be Kearney. If I've been saying it wrong, sorry about it. Richard's trial began on January 16th of 1879 in Minden, Nebraska, with Judge William Gaslin presiding. The prosecution was led by a district attorney named Schofield, and Richards' defense was led by a lawyer named Savage. Wasn't so savage. Dude was convicted. Schofield laid...
You need a new name, dude.
Not savage. Unsavage. Soft. Schofield laid out 2 indictments for murder in the first degree for the killings of the Harrelson family and Anderson. Richards pled not guilty, even though he fucking confessed.
What?
Arguing that Anderson's killing was in self-defense and therefore justifiable.
Bullshit.
Right. The prosecution called 7 witnesses to the stand. They all testified to the state in which Anderson was found. Richards was then called to the stand to testify. When questioned by Schofield, he admitted to killing Anderson with the hammer after a heated argument, but reiterated that he had done so in self-defense. Richards stated that although repeatedly warned not to do so, Anderson reached for a nearby hatchet. The prosecution then entered into evidence the hammer that had been used to kill Anderson. Here's the thing. If this man acted in self-defense because he was going at him with a quote-unquote knife is what he initially said, but now it's a hatchet.
Yeah.
Why would he have hid him?
Exactly.
Why would he have buried him under piles of clothes or pallets or whatever it was that he was found under? Why would you hide them?
Exactly.
If it's self-defense, you just kill them out in the open and then be done with it.
Yeah. No.
No. Mm-mm. I believe it was premeditated. I believe it was intentional. He didn't say that, but
he's not going to admit it.
Not crazy. I believe it was intentional.
Very much so.
After 2 hours of deliberation, the jury found Richards guilty of the murders of the Harrelsons and Anderson, and he was sentenced to death by hanging. And his execution date was set for April 26th of 1879. Richards was described as being, quote-unquote, cheerful and indifferent to both the proceedings and his conviction. So the whole time he was just happy and like, okay.
So, like...
Didn't care.
So, like, Pinnell.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Because
Pinnell wasn't cheerful. He was just stoic. He was just there. He was just quiet.
Yeah.
No. Stephen was happy, cheerful, didn't care. It was whatever. Similar, but, crazy. Oh, nonetheless.
Crazy.
The Sedalia Weekly Bozo. Nope. The Sedalia Weekly Bazoo reported that not any better, right?
No.
Reported that shortly after his conviction, Richards managed to smuggle a knife into his cell to use for suicide, but it was discovered by authorities and confiscated, so he couldn't use it.
What?
Yeah. So eventually, I guess he got some feelings and was like, "Oh shit,
yeah, maybe
I'm going to end it myself."
Yeah.
But it was probably more a control thing. He didn't want someone else to end his life. He wanted to do it himself, and that's kind of how that
with
goes.
him. It'd be more a control thing.
When Richards was returned to Nebraska, the Omaha Herald wrote that he, quote unquote, manifested supreme indifference to his lot, was perfectly willing to be brought to Kearney Junction, and said he had as soon died one way as another. So he didn't care if he died by his own hand or by hanging. He didn't care. He was just ready to die.
Alrighty then.
After Richard's conviction, Sheriff Martin announced that his execution in Minden would be open to the public. That's what they did in the 1800s. They had public hangings.
I know, but it's like still.
I know. But they had public hangings. I mean, even still now, like when they do the lethal injection, people are allowed to be there. You have to be like family or something, but people are allowed to be there to watch you go. Like victims' family and stuff.
Yeah.
People want to see that. I wouldn't want to see that. But some people do. Morbid curiosity, I guess. Even though Martin feared the attendance of a large number of spectators could become violent, he remained steadfast in allowing a public execution.
Okay.
To prevent a riot, an enclosure was constructed around the gallows to separate the expected crowd from Richards. However, he was allowed tickets to invite people to his hangings.
What?
Yeah. You got to choose who got to see you die. Like, you were given tickets and you could give them out to whoever you wanted, and then other people had to buy them.
What?
1800s. Like, shit was wild back then. Can you imagine that now?
That's ridiculous.
Can you imagine?
That's ridiculous.
And people did it. They bought these tickets. It's crazy.
The fact that people did is like, what the hell?
Right. But he did choose members of the press with whom he'd befriended while in prison as his people that he wanted to have there to watch him die.
Okay.
That's weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, my body is like completely like rejecting all of this right now.
That's just okay.
One such ticket of admittance was recently discovered and is now in the collection of the Nebraska Historical Society. So whoever had a ticket to the admission left it somewhere, donated it somewhere, but it was recently located and found, and now it's in the Historical Society Museum. Which...
Okay.
Whatever.
Alrighty then.
So, this is wild. Again, you're buying tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spectators at the execution were said to have numbered between 2,000 and 25,000 people.
What?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people came out to watch this man die.
The hell?
A lot of money being made right then. So, as the crowd became increasingly agitated, the authorities pleaded with them to stay outside of the enclosure, but guards were unable to prevent the spectators from destroying the barriers.
Oh, no.
One witness in the incident, a man named Rolf Johnson, later wrote that 20 to 30 people in the crowd cut the ropes as the authorities tried to stop the crowd. The mob proceeded to pull the posts out of the ground, attempting to drag the makeshift barrier away, while the guards were pulling the rope at the other end in what Johnson described as a tug of war. The mob succeeded in pulling the rope away from the guards and then proceeded to destroy the barrier entirely. They fucking dismantled the whole thing.
See, and this is why you shouldn't have let people come see the fucking hanging when they're already angry and want to kill this dude.
Exactly.
Like, bro, you fucked up.
I mean, they tried.
Up.
They tried. Like, you know, feed him to the wolves. Just let the people have him. Like, he's gonna die anyway. Just let them have him. Just let them have him. Because hanging is barbaric anyway.
Yes.
And it does not work quickly. That's why they go to lethal injection now, because hanging is tragic.
Yeah, because it takes a hot minute.
Oh, a couple minutes. At 1 p.m., Richards was led to the gallows by Martin and his deputy. This pacified the crowd. Upon ascending the gallows, Richards launched into an impassioned defense of his actions. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like last walk, last rites, last talk kind of bullshit. He claimed again that the killing of Anderson was in self-defense and disavowed any involvement in the murders of the Harrelson family, even though he already fucking confessed to the 9 murders.
You confessed. There's no taking it back now, dumbass.
He claimed that he was the victim of a quote-unquote wrongful conviction.
Bullshit.
And like many others on death row, he claimed he has found the Lord.
Too late now, motherfucker.
Praise the Lord. He has made peace with God and had faith in Christ, and then asked the crowd to join him in singing a hymn called Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
What?
The crowd didn't do it. He sang by himself, and the crowd was like, what the fuck?
Because, yeah, bro, you ain't going to heaven. You're still going to hell.
They rioted. They were like, shut the fuck up and die. So, the crowd wasn't happy. One such spectator, documenting the events of the execution in his journal, observed that Richards appeared calm and collected during the entire ordeal.
My eyes twitching.
So, there's that. He didn't care. Richards' final words were said to have been, Jesus, be with me now.
No.
They all seem to find God, Jesus, when they're getting ready to die. If I believed in any of that,
it ain't gonna help you, dude, because you're still not going up there.
If I believed in any of that, it would be a too little, too late situation.
Way too little, too late.
Reverend W. Sanford G., who presided over the execution, later told reporters that he had hoped Richard's professions of religious salvation were genuine, but conceded that they probably weren't.
They weren't.
Yeah. At 1:17 p.m. on April 26, 1879, Richards was hanged.
Woo!
The St. Louis Globe-Democrat said it took 15 minutes for him to die, which is why I'm saying it's barbaric. Like, death should be swift and without conviction.
15 minutes?
15, and that's about normal. Sometimes it can take hours.
Okay.
There have been times where it has taken too long and the executioner has had to pull on their legs to break their neck and move it along a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Richards was the first person in Nebraska's history to be executed since its incorporation into the U.S. in 1867. Shortly after his execution, a photographer was able to capture a photograph of Richard's corpse propped inside a coffin. I'll post that picture. It's wild. I've seen it. It's not gross or anything, but it's wild to see that, like, from back then. Local doctors hounded Richards prior to his execution, requesting him to donate his body for medical purposes, medical purposes. Okay. If I don't get cremated, that's what I want to do. I want to donate my body to, like, the body farm or something. We're going to cover the body farm. It's fucking fascinating. It's incredible. And it's so helpful. Don't look at me like that.
You say so.
He was buried in Minden. Despite his gravesite being guarded, his corpse was stolen the night after his execution. Yeah. The Sedalia Weekly Bazoo suspected the doctors who had wanted to examine him, but his body was eventually returned to its resting place shortly thereafter. So they thought, like, the people who wanted to examine and do, like, testing on him or whatever took the body, but they could never confirm it. The body was returned. Sometime later, the body was dug up again.
What?
But this time, Richard's bones were scattered on the streets of Kearney. So I'm thinking it was just someone who was trying to show justice, to all the bad things that had happened. On November 1st of 1882, it was reported that Kearney County Gazette had obtained Richards' skull and placed it on display in the newspaper's office window. This was the last reported mention of Richards' skull. Its current location is unknown, so we don't know what happened to it after that. Or even why they wanted it.
What?
I don't know.
Why was the hell?
Yeah. That's one of the things about the older stories. Like, you don't get a whole lot of the whys. Because, everybody's dead right now. You can't ask questions because that would be a question that why?
Okay.
Why? Like, I would love to have, Charles Manson or H.H. Holmes school, but not this dude.
You would.
I would fucking love it.
Both if you could.
Yes, I would be so fucking excited. Oh.
Just in case you just gonna go find you little replicas of them.
Yeah. After his arrest, many people described Richards as charismatic, commenting that he had successfully concealed his dark nature under a polite, articulate, and handsome exterior. A friend who had accompanied Richards' autobiographer to his interview said Richards, quote unquote, did not have the look of a murderer, which today we know doesn't have a specific look. And if it did, it would be the charismatic, handsome charmer.
Pretty much, yeah.
Look at Bundy, Manson, Jim Jones. All these people were charismatic. This is how cults begin, is because these people are charismatic and good looking. And
that's how they get you.
They know how to talk to people. So if serial killers had a look, that would be it, my guy. That would be it.
Yeah,
a lot of them, not all of them, obviously, because Ed Gein and...
did you see they're doing a...
yes. I don't like it.
I love Charlie.
But I don't like it.
I know. I
don't like it.
But I love Charlie. I love him.
I don't like it.
I love him, though.
Many observed that he displayed a complete lack of remorse for his crimes and indifference towards his execution. As stated earlier, modern-day forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland had written that these characteristics were also displayed by Ted Bundy, and she referred to Richards as the Old West's Ted Bundy. Because of his charisma, his attractiveness, and the fact that he just didn't give a fuck when he was arrested or sentenced.
He just didn't kill women like Ted Bundy did.
Yeah. The only difference is Richards never tried to escape jail, and Ted Bundy did. Yeah. And went on the run and lived in the woods for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nature of Richards' crimes and his behavior after his capture led to a brief period of notoriety, as Richards was widely talked about in the media at the time, mainly because they didn't have people that did this shit before. It was crazy. But that was good old man Stephen Richards, just fucking killing people because he wanted to, and just did not give a flying fuck about any of it.
Mine's a little rough. Yeah, mine's a little trigger warning.
Oh no,
mine's a little rough. Yeah, Lauren's really not gonna like this one.
Okay, I have to prepare myself.
Let me know when you're ready. Because, I
guess I'm ready.
Okay. So, Joseph Duncan, an American convicted serial killer and child molester.
Oh, God. Fuck my life. Okay.
Yeah, I told you you weren't going to like this one. All right. So, Joseph Edward Duncan III was born in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And of course, he has to be in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
We've had a lot of North Carolina people. It's crazy.
And I know where Fort Bragg is. My uncle was there.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's like a military base area, right?
It's the military base.
Yeah, okay.
On February 25th, 1963, he was a Pisces. He was the fourth of 5 children born to Joseph Edward Duncan Jr. and Lillian May Duncan.
So this was a little bit recent. If he was born in the 60s, so... Wow, okay. Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, he's recent.
Oh, fuck me. All right.
He has 3 older sisters and a younger brother. His father was in the U.S. Army, and because of that, the family moved from city to city within the U.S. and abroad, changing locations every year or two until the dad retired to Tacoma, Washington when he was 12 years old.
That's got to be rough.
That's a lot of moving.
I mean, it is. And like, you're having to uproot yourself and like losing friends. And it's got to be rough for kids, man.
Yeah. His mother was described as a domineering woman. And it mentioned when he was arrested in 1980, he claimed to have been abused as a child. His younger brother disputed this, said that was not true whatsoever.
Okay.
His parents split up in 1979 and divorced in 1983. The sisters soon left the household all at once.
Damn.
And Duncan remained with his mom while his brother went to live with their father.
So could that have been the time where he was abused, or no, it was just him in the home, or?
Because they said their mom wasn't, like, none of them were, like...
She wasn't abusive towards any of them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that doesn't mean that didn't change, but...
And his dad remarried, giving him a stepfamily. He attended Lakes High School, but did not graduate.
Okay.
His criminal history.
Hold on. I've got to prepare myself.
Get in your little
Zen zone.
Zen zone.
Okay.
He had a long history as a violent sexual predator. His first recorded committed sex crime was in 1978 when he was 15 years old. 15 years old.
Okay.
And he raped a 9-year-old boy.
What
at
the
gunpoint.
fuck?
I told you weren't gonna like this. Okay. Following year, he was arrested for driving a stolen car, sentenced as a juvenile, and sent to the Jesse Dislin Boys Ranch in Tacoma.
Why was he not in prison for raping a 9-year-old?
They didn't say that. He was a...
Okay, so...
Because they didn't know about that.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't get arrested till his
gotcha
car thing. So they didn't know about the rape.
Okay.
And then, according to a report by the Associated Press, he told a therapist assigned to his case that he had bound and sexually assaulted 6 boys.
What the fuck? At 15?
He didn't say when. He just said that's what he did. And then he also told the therapist that he estimated that he had raped 13 younger boys by the time he was age 16. I told you weren't going to like this story. You weren't going to like this, dude.
Okay.
In 1980, he stole several guns from a neighbor and abducted a 14-year-old boy, raping him at gunpoint. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison for this crime, but was released on parole in 1994 after serving 14 years.
I fully believe people who go to jail for sexual assault of anybody, minors especially, need to be castrated. Chemically castrated. They need to be fucking eunuchs. I don't give a fuck about anybody's opinion on that. That is a hill I will goddamn die on.
On parole, he's known to have... I told you we weren't going to like this.
No, I don't fucking like this at all. And we're like 5 minutes in.
On parole, he is known to have lived in several places in the Seattle area. He was arrested again in 1996, this time for marijuana use, and released on parole several weeks later with new restrictions.
I'm not too worried about that.
Authorities believe that he murdered Sammy... if I'm going to butcher this name, I apologize. Sammy Ho White and Carmen Cubis in Seattle in 1996, and Anthony Martinez in Riverside County, California in 97 during his parole period. But both cases went cold and were not tied to Duncan until after his arrest in a different case.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so he's raped, 9 and then 13. And plus how many more so far?
2.
So it's 19.
Yeah.
No. 22? Yeah, 9 and 13 is 22.
Yeah.
He's raped 22 people. Possibly 25 because he murdered 3. Probably raped them 2. And he's how fucking old? This was in 96 and he was born when? 63?
Yeah.
So he was 33 years old.
Uh-huh.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay.
He was arrested in Missouri and returned to prison in 1997 after violating the terms of his parole.
You think?
And he was released from prison on July 14th, 2000.
What?
With time off for good behavior and moved to Fargo, North Dakota. I told you weren't going to like it. March 2005, he was charged with the July 3rd, 2004 molestation of 2 boys at a playground in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
Jesus fucking Christ. So the Carmen person that was murdered, was that a female or was that also male? Because everything else has been male, right?
Carmen was a female, yes.
Okay, I thought so.
No, they're both girls, I think. The Sammy Ho and Carmen.
Did he molest them too?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
April 5th, 2005, he appeared before a Becker County judge who set bail at $15,000. A Fargo businessman with who Duncan came acquainted with helped him post bail.
No.
He skipped bail and disappeared.
Absolutely not. That man needs to be arrested and thrown in jail.
June 1st, a federal warrant was issued for Duncan's arrest for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution.
Yeah.
And now we're on to Idaho murders and kidnappings. So this is...
Jesus fucking
So this
Christ.
This is the big one.
Okay.
So May 16th, 2005, authorities discovered the bodies of Brenda Groween, who was 40, her boyfriend Mark McKenzie, who was 37, and her son Slade Groween, who was 13, in their home along Lake Coeur-d'Alene, outside the city of Coeur-d'Alene, Idaho. And 2 of her other children, Dylan, who was 9, and Shasta, who was 8, were missing.
Oh my fucking God.
Amber Alert was issued and searchers combed the area for the children while authorities investigated the deaths at the home as homicides.
Yeah.
And autopsies determined the cause of death to be blunt trauma to the head. And also noted that the victims had been bound. I told you it was going to be a rough one.
Yeah, I'm not enthusiastic about this one.
47 days later, in the early morning of July 2nd, 2005, Shasta was seen at a Denny's restaurant in Coeur-d'Alene in the company of an unknown man.
I know this fucking story. Okay, sorry. That jogged my memory. I know this fucking story. Okay, sorry, continue.
A waitress, manager, and 2 customers at the restaurant recognized the girl from media reports. They called the police and positioned themselves to prevent the man from leaving. Police arrived and arrested the man, later identified as Duncan. Shasta identified herself to the waitress at the restaurant and authorities and was taken to Kootenai Medical Center for medical treatment and to be reunited with her father. The police, meanwhile, detained him on kidnapping charges and... They detained Duncan on kidnapping charges and on his outstanding federal warrant.
No, wait. She was reunited with her father. I thought they were all killed in the home.
Her mom's boyfriend. Her parents weren't together.
Okay, I was really confused. I was like, at the cemetery or what's happening?
Yeah, no, her parents weren't together. It was her mom and her mom's boyfriend.
Stepdad or whatever. Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
like fiance.
Okay. On the same page.
Yeah. When Shasta was found without Dylan, they held little hope of finding the boy alive.
Oh, God, yeah. I know the story.
Police asked the public for tips, specifically concerning sightings of the stolen red Jeep Cherokee with Missouri license plates that he was driving at the time of his arrest. They discovered that he had rented a car in Minnesota and never returned it. A gas station in Kellogg, Idaho, about 40 miles east of Coeur-d'Alene, recognized the vehicle as one that had stopped hours before Duncan was arrested. The employees suspected the girl wandering around the station might have been Shasta, but did not confront her as nothing appeared out of the ordinary. Employee and manager notified authorities after reviewing the surveillance camera footage and identifying Duncan and Shasta in the video. July 4th, 2005, they found human remains at a remote makeshift campsite in the Lolo National Forest near St. Regis, Montana. Remains were sent to the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia for DNA testing. They were positively identified as those of Dylan.
Aww.
During the trial, it emerged that Dylan was shot at point-blank range by holding a sawn-off 12-gauge shotgun to his head.
God, Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay. And much of what was known about the murders was revealed by Shasta herself. All right, so this is all what happened according to Shasta.
Yeah, I don't like any of this.
I
I know this story now from that part of it, like the diner part.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. prepare yourself, guys. Like, this is really fucking rough. It's bad. It's real bad.
I tell you.
It's real bad.
According to her interview, Duncan killed her mother, older brother, and her mom's fiance. Then he kidnapped her and Dylan and drove away in their Jeep. Her mom had came into Dylan's in her room and woke him up. Her mom had said someone was in the house, and they went to the living room where she saw Duncan wearing black gloves and holding a gun. He tied her mother's hands with nylon zip ties and did the same to Mark and Slade. And then Shasta and Dylan were then removed from the house and placed outside on the lawn. While waiting with Dylan, she heard multiple thumping sounds from inside. Then she saw Slade staggering away from the entrance to the house. Duncan then bludgeoned the 3 to death and proceeded to place the other 2 in his car. He took both children to other locations where he repeatedly raped and tortured them for 6 weeks. Shasta stated that they drove a long distance and stayed in 2 different campsites where he told her of having beaten her family members to death with a hammer.
My stomach is fucking turning right now. I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, I told you this wasn't a good one. She also told them how Dylan was murdered, even though Duncan insisted it was an accident.
Yeah. Yeah. Just being shot with a sawed-off shotgun's a fucking accident. My goddamn ass.
So initially, Shasta was standing on the other side of the Jeep when she heard a loud boom. She then ran to the other side and saw Dylan lying on the ground screaming. Duncan was digging through a clear plastic box looking for beer when a shotgun that was also kept in the box went off, hitting Dylan in the stomach. Duncan then put the shotgun to Dylan's head and pulled the trigger, but it failed to fire. Dylan begged Duncan not to kill him. He reloaded the gun, put it back to the boy's head, and pulled the trigger. Dylan was killed instantly. Duncan...
I'm gonna throw up.
I told you it was a bad one. Duncan then started crying and told her that he only killed him to put him out of his misery. A public memorial service was held for Dylan on July 16, 2005, which would have been his 10th birthday at Real Life Ministries. And she reported that Duncan nearly killed her days after killing Dylan. She said that he gave her the choice to be killed either by strangulation or with a gun. She chose the former, and he proceeded to wrap a rope around her neck and tightly pull. She summoned enough breath to beg Duncan to stop using his nickname Jet, and he immediately stopped. Then he asked her if she would like to meet his mother, to which she said yes, and the 2 drove back towards Coeur d'Alene and stopped at Denny's where she was rescued.
Yeah.
His arrest led the FBI to launch a nationwide review of unsolved missing child cases. He was implicated as a possible suspect in several crimes that occurred between 1994 and 1997 when he was on parole, and between 2000 and 2005 when he was free from prison. So Anthony Martinez. So April 4th, 1997, 10-year-old Anthony Michael Martinez was playing with friends in the front yard of his home in Beaumont, California, when an unknown man approached the group asking for help in finding a missing cat. When the boys refused, the man grabbed Martinez at knife point and threw him into the car. After a 2-week search, his body was found nude and partially decomposed in Indo, California on April 19th. They noted that he had been sexually assaulted and bound with duct tape. Although a composite sketch of the suspect was made available and a partial fingerprint taken from the duct tape found on his body, the case eventually went cold.
I'm sick to my stomach right now.
Yeah. In July 2005, bloggers noticed similarities between Duncan and the composite sketch in the case and between the vehicles in both cases. FBI and National Center for Missing and Exploited Children became involved and in turn contacted Riverside County authorities. They were able to match the fingerprint taken from Martinez's body to Duncan, and on August 3rd, they officially announced his connection. FBI agents reported that Duncan confessed to the murder in an interview on July 19, 2005, describing the crime as revenge against society again for sending him back to jail for a probation violation.
Oh my God. So yeah, let's just rape and murder children because you're a piece of shit and can't do right and stay the fuck out of jail. Yeah, let's do that. Because that makes a whole lot of fucking sense. Because they're not going to throw you back in jail for your crimes. Like,
exactly.
Are you... Okay.
And then Sammy, Joe White, and Carmen Cubius. And Shasta told investigators that Duncan told her about other crimes he had committed, including the Martinez murder and the 1996 murders of White, who was 11, and her half-sister Carmen, who was 9, who both vanished on July 6, 1996, after leaving the Crest Motel in Seattle. Their skeletal remains were found on February 10th, 1998 in Bothell, Washington, and he confessed to beating the 2 young girls to death. All right, so his trials. He had been convicted in 3 courts. In Idaho District Court for the kidnapping and murders of Brenda and Slade and Mark. The U.S. District Court for the District of Idaho for the kidnapping of Shasta and Dylan, the murder of Dylan, and other crimes. And a California Superior Court for the kidnapping and murder of Anthony. So his Idaho trial. He first appeared in a Kootenai County Court on July 13, 2005. Where he was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping. County prosecutors had initially planned to charge Duncan with the kidnappings. However, they deferred those charges to the federal courts, as transporting children across state lines for sexual exploitation is a federal offense.
It's a federal crime, yep.
Trial was set to begin January 17, 2006, but was delayed until April 4th after the district judge granted a request to the defense for more time to prepare for the trial, and then again to October 26th after the judge in the case stated that no one wants to try this case twice, including me.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
Yeah, he's like, we want to get it right the first time.
Oh, God, I'm sick. This is rough. Like, really fucking rough.
Uh-huh. His attorneys blamed the multiple postponements on the prosecution's insistence on pursuing the death penalty. October 16, 2006.
What the fuck else are they going to pursue?
Exactly.
This man has raped and murdered so many fucking children. He does not deserve to be breathing. What the fuck else are they going to pursue?
Exactly. Shortly after jury selection began, Kootenai County prosecutors and Duncan's attorney reached a plea bargain in which he pleaded guilty to all state charges against him. He was immediately sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for the 3 kidnapping charges. The sentencing on the 3 murder charges was continues pending the outcome of his federal trial on kidnapping and murder charges. Over 2 years later, after being sentenced to death on federal charges, Kootenai County sentenced Duncan to 3 additional life sentences. He also agreed to cooperate with Kootenai County Sheriff's detectives investigating his crimes and provide passwords to his encrypted file stored on his computer. So now his federal trial. January 18, 2007, he was indicted by a federal grand jury in Coeur d'Alene on 10 counts of kidnapping resulting in death, aggravated sexual abuse of a minor, and sexual exploitation of a child resulting in death, and other crimes related to illegal firearm possession and vehicle theft. He was arraigned the following day at a federal court in Boise, where a judge ordered him to stand trial the following March. His defense attorneys immediately requested a postponement, which was granted the week the trial was originally scheduled to begin. A new trial date was set for January 22nd, 2008. December 3rd, 2007, he pleaded guilty to all 10 charges against him. As condition to this agreement, Shasta would not have to testify in the penalty phase of the trial.
That's good. That would have been way too much.
Uh-huh.
That poor girl. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been way too much.
Yeah. Due to a gag order, other plea agreement details were not released. Jury selection for the penalty phase for his federal trial began on April 14, 2008. During jury selection, he dismissed his attorneys and chose to represent himself.
Oh, I love it when they do that because they always fuck it up.
Exactly. His attorneys objected, asserting he was incompetent to do so, and requested a formal hearing about the issue. The district court ordered evaluation of Duncan to determine his competence and accepted the evaluator's conclusion that he was competent to proceed without counsel. August 27, 2008, after 3 hours of deliberation, the jury recommended the death penalty.
Yes.
And the judge imposed 3 death sentences for kidnapping resulting in death, sexual exploitation of a child resulting in death, and use of a firearm in a violent crime resulting in death, all related to the death of Dylan. November 3rd, 2008, he was sentenced to an additional 3 consecutive terms of life, without parole in federal prison for kidnapping Shasta and for sexually abusing her and Dylan. His standby counsel filed a notice of appeal. He subsequently wrote to the court and informed it that any appeal was taken against his wishes. July 2011, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the district court's decision to permit Duncan to represent himself without first holding a hearing as to his competence to do so, and remanded for a hearing as to this issue. Beginning in September 2012, he was incarcerated at the U.S. Penitentiary Terre Haute in Indiana. December 6, 2013, a federal judge ruled that he was mentally competent when he gave up the rights to appeal his death sentence. Psychiatrists working with the prosecution diagnosed him with pedophilia, sexual sadism disorder, and antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic traits, but maintained that he was legally sane. A 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals ruled on March 27, 2015, that a district judge correctly determined that he was mentally competent when he waived his right to appeal his death sentence. February 28, 2016, the U.S. Supreme Court denied his petition to hear his appeal of a federal judge ruling in December 2013, which had been informed by the Ninth Circuit. February 28, 2017, a petition for writ of habeas corpus was filed. On September 27, 2017, it was ordered that the government's third motion for extension of time was granted in part and denied in part. The government's response was due October 30th, 2017. The petitioner's reply was due on or before January 30th, 2018. And then California trial, January 18th, 2007, the same day Duncan was indicted in federal court, Riverside County officials announced that he was charged with Martinez's murder. Despite attempts by Riverside County officials to extradite Duncan to Cali, including an appeal by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, Duncan's federal
Arnold.
Arnold.
That's the only good part of this story, man. I'm stressed.
Duncan's federal trial proceeded. He was eventually extradited to California on January 24, 2009, 5 months after being sentenced to death by the federal court. March 15, 2011, he pleaded guilty to the murder and was sentenced to 2 life terms on April 5, 2011. As part of a plea deal, the sentence came without the possibility of parole or right to appeal. Although he could have faced a separate death sentence in addition to the ones he had already been sentenced to in federal court, Riverside County District Attorney Paul Zellerbeck justified the life sentence by stating that they had consulted with the Martinez family, who wanted closure in the case, and that the federal system would kill him long before the state of California would have seriously considered it. And then the aftermath of all the trials and everything. So the jurors who imposed the death penalty on him were offered counseling for them to cope with the horrific evidence they had to see during the trial. Among the evidence viewed in court was a 33-minute video depicting a nude Duncan torturing, physically and verbally assaulting, and sexually abusing a nude restrained boy identified as Dylan.
Oh my God.
The video showed this abuse conducted in various interior areas of what appeared to be a dilapidated single-level wooden shed or small cabin. Other evidence, including human remains, a wire noose from the cabin interior, and other videos of his continued torture of Dylan. During one of the videos, a child could be heard screaming in pain.
Oh my God.
While a naked Duncan shouted, "The devil is here, boy, the devil himself. The devil likes to watch children suffer and cry."
He's the fucking devil.
Yeah. In 2016, Shasta, who was 19 years old, started a petition called Slade and Dylan's Law in honor of her brothers. In the description, she stated that convicted sex offenders should not be let out of jail.
No, ever. Not fucking ever.
This would effectively mean that the 3-strike rule for violent sex offenders would be reduced to 1 strike.
Yes.
By the time it closed, it had 51,820 supporters.
It should have had way fucking more than that. Way fucking more. Shame on anybody who doesn't support some shit like that. You're disgusting.
And then imprisonment. So he was in prison on federal death row at the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. Through his blog spot, he gave updates on his life from inside prison and described what life was like for him on federal death row. According to him, he rarely interacted with other death row prisoners and actively chose not to speak with them or engage in conversation, claiming he did not really socialize with anyone at all. He would only speak to other prisoners when required to do so. Despite this, he claimed to have never received trouble from other inmates and only received harassment occasionally from a handful of correctional officers. July 2019, the U.S. federal government announced that they would be resuming executions after a nearly 2-decade hiatus. He claimed he was relieved to hear this news, as in his opinion, being executed via lethal injection would be a much better and cleaner way to die than dying of natural causes in prison, which is what he feared the most. He claimed he was worried that the government would never get around to executing him. He said of the 5 federal prisoners selected for execution that he was acquainted with 4 of them, but would call none of them his friend. And he claimed everyone on federal death row would be better off if they were executed.
Yeah. I mean, we would be better off for sure.
Then his
Jesus
death.
Fucking Christ.
October 2020, he underwent brain surgery after he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is most aggressive and most common cancer in the brain.
Oh no, karma.
He refused any treatment and didn't want chemotherapy and radiation therapy. Medical staff estimated he had between 6 to 12 months left to live. He died on March 28th, 2021 at the age of 58. He was cremated.
He should have been used as target practice.
He should have.
That's fucking sick.
I told you this one was rough.
Y'all can tell when I'm quiet through a story that I'm struggling.
Yep, this one was rough. Very, very rough.
I couldn't have done the research on that. I'm glad you got it. I wouldn't have made it. I'm barely making it now.
Yeah, it was rough.
My stomach is like
I had to stop reading a few times.
Yeah, my stomach is turning like major right now. Because outside of Shasta's mom and her mom's boyfriend, they were all fucking children. They were all children.
Yep, all children.
Oh, sick. I'm glad that motherfucker got what he deserved. A little too late, but he got it.
Yeah.
That's rough. I don't like stories that make me cry. Yeah, I don't know how to end this one. Hope you guys will forgive us for this one because it's bad. We did warn you. I didn't know it was going to be this bad until like halfway in when I started recognizing some of the names and situations, but I did not know it that in depth, and I wish I didn't know it now, but that one's gonna live in my brain for a while, and stress me out as much as it possibly can. So you guys can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/hauntedandhomicidal. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/hauntedandhomicidal. Feel free to email us, hauntedandhomicidal@gmail.com. I can't do this anymore right now. I'm struggling, so we're just gonna go. Okay, bye.
Bye.